Hi everyone, welcome to Come As You Are, and I'm Rebecca. And I know it's been a little while since I've been on here, but I do have a few things to share. I have quite a few dreams and stuff. Well, okay, let me just back it up a little bit. So, I was told to write down and put out all these dreams and words and stuff that I was given, and that was, I started hearing the share, the importance of sharing. Well, things come up, and, I just kept, making excuses and putting other things first. Long story short, I have not done that yet. Well, this morning I woke up with a quickening in my spirit, and I kept hearing 3 days. 3 days, 3 days, 3 days. 3, 3, 3. Well, it started with, just hearing 3, and I'm like, 3. So, I am going to be putting out 3 videos tonight, because I really felt the urgency to put out a video every day this week starting Monday. And I have not yet. So I'm going to do 3 videos. Today is Wednesday. So I'm going to do 3 videos. I don't want to make them too long. That's why I'm going to split it up into 3. But I know today is April 3rd. And it's the 3rd. It's 3 days before the 6th, which there's a lot of things going on the 6th. I actually plan on doing a video about that. So I started hearing April 6th back in early January. No, sorry, it was late January. It was mid to late January that I started hearing this. But anyways, that's not the video for tonight. Tonight I do want to share a few dreams and stuff that I believe are significant. And I'm going to start with my son's 2 dreams that he had just this weekend. So, okay, here we go. I'm going to start with that. So Friday night, and I have his writings over here so I don't forget anything. So if you see me glancing, I'm making sure I don't miss anything. Okay, so Friday night, he had a dream, and this is my oldest son. He's 15. So Saturday morning when I was driving him to work, he told me, he said, Mom, last night I was reading the Bible, and I started having doubts. I started to doubt. And so he said, I prayed that God take all the doubts away and that he remove all the doubts from me. And he said that later when he had went to sleep that night, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Holes, but with Shiloh Buff, I think that's his name. But anyways, in that movie there's these yellow spotted lizards, and they're really poisonous. But he said he went to sleep and he had a dream that one of those lizards bit him on the hand, and then he woke up and he prayed, and then he went back to sleep, and then he was given this dream. He said he was in a valley, not like a grassy or a sand type valley, but there was snow. It was really cold, and he was in this valley, and there was other kids there as well. Kids from school, even ones that he doesn't really know all too well, but as well as, a couple of his best friends were there. And in this dream, he said that people were dying of all kinds of different things. Some examples he gave was one kid got attacked by a polar bear. One got died from a spider, so I'm guessing a spider bite. He said one kid even got hit with a glacier, which I thought was, odd, because as he's telling me this, the first thing I'm thinking of is, natural disasters and beasts and pestilence, is what's going through my mind as he's telling me this. So he said, then he started running. He was running. He said he wasn't running to anything or necessarily from anything, but he was running. And he said he fell down from exhaustion, and he was lying there on his back in the snow, and he was dying. And he said, okay, yeah. Then I dropped from exhaustion and I was dying, laying in the snow. Just before I passed, I thought to myself, I need to believe in Jesus. He will save me. Or what if he doesn't? He will. He said then he closed his eyes after thinking that. He closed his eyes, and when he opened them, he was in a house and sitting at a kitchen table and talking to his one of his best friends, Adarian. And guys, and my son, he does believe in Jesus, and I have been more open and honest with him lately about the season that we're in. And God's really been speaking to him. And I know I put out his dream about the storm. The storm is coming. I know I already did a video on that, but so these aren't the first dreams he's had. And actually, I actually mentioned this to him today because I remember back in like 2012, I do believe, he had a dream about, and guys, at that point in time, I wasn't even in my walk. And so sadly, and like it's shameful on my part, but we just didn't have that kind of light in the house. So now looking back and knowing what I know now, looking back to this dream that he had back in 2012 was really like, wow. I mean, he had a dream that he was taken from his school, him and a group of other kids, and let's see, he would have been 30. Wow, 8 or 9 years old at the time. Wow. So he had a dream that some people came. I'm trying to remember. It was back in 2012, guys. So I think he said it was like military. But anyways, the point is that some people came and took him, as well as a bunch of other kids, maybe all the kids from the school, and took them to this like warehouse. He said that was like fenced in. And there was tables set up in this warehouse and different lines and stuff for this and lines for that. And people were getting in these lines and stuff. And when he got up to he got in a line, was told to get in this line. And when he got up there and sat down at this table with this person, he said that they put a chip in his arm. And he's 8 or 9 years old. That was before I started learning anything. So now looking back to that dream was like, yeah. So anyways, guys, my son does believe in Jesus. That's the point I was getting at. Now, his friend Adarian, and I've had talks with Adarian too. We're just praying for him. So, we'll accept all prayers, pray for all the kids, and really not just kids, all non-believers right now. Sorry, I strayed way away from this dream. So anyways, he was, so after he thought that to himself while he's laying in the snow, and he did make a point, he said, I was dying. And he said that, and he closed his eyes, and when he opened them, he was sitting at a kitchen table in this house. He said he didn't recognize the house, and he was sitting there with the Darian, and he said, I think Jesus pulled us out of that. And he said, and he nodded Adarian in almost like an accepting or acknowledging way. So yeah, wow, that was a really awesome dream that God gave him Friday night. And I want to share this one that he had Sunday morning as well. So, okay, I'm going to share this one now. So Sunday morning he had a dream that he was standing on the top of a roof. He said it was really tall, so like a building or something, like the rooftop of a building. And he said it was dark outside, and he was up there and he was looking at all the clouds. and he was focused on one. He said like the only light was like the light of the moon, and he could see like, and he was focused on this one cloud, and it was more, he said it was more defined than, it's just stuck out, it was more defined than the rest of them. So he's paying attention to this one cloud, and all of a sudden he's looking at it and watching it, and all of a sudden he's like, that's a serpent. And he said, it was, when he was telling me like it's more defined, he was doing this with his finger, and he said, that's a serpent. He said, so he ran back inside, ran downstairs, and he said David and Kelly were the only ones in the house. Now, David is my youngest son, that's his younger brother, and Kelly is his dad's significant other. So he said he told David about the serpent, and David went up there to look at it, and then they went back in and went downstairs and told Kelly about it, and Kelly went up there. He said that she was gone for a while, so he went up there. Well, when he went up there, it was no longer like he was walking out onto the rooftop. It was like an attic room. And he said when he was going up there, Kelly was picking up candles, because he said there was a circle of candles on the ground, and there was something in the middle of it. And he said he didn't see what was in the middle of it, but she said, he said he went there to find Kelly in a circle of candles, and she was collecting them, picking them up, and she told him, she looked at him and said, I talked to the serpent. And he said, well, what did it say? And he said, it's jealous of you. And Aaron asked why. And she said, it's afraid that when people ask if you talk to it, you'll say no. He said at that point he ran downstairs and went to call me. He said when he pulled out his phone, he seen what time it was. It was 4:58. He said for some reason that was sticking out to him. It was 4:58. And he called me and told me, Mom, I need you to come pick me up. I need to get out of here. And I told him, okay, I'm on my way. And he said at that point, because I went to the grocery store Sunday morning, guys. So when I was coming home, if you have a house alarm, anytime the doors or windows open, it makes a beep sound. So as he woke up from his dream, me telling him I'm on my way, right as I was walking in the front door for getting back from the grocery store that morning. So I thought that was pretty amazing. So one thing I want to point out is while he's telling me this dream, he's telling me about it, and Revelation 12 just kept coming to my mind as he's speaking, but I didn't say anything. So I'm letting him tell me, about the dream, but it just kept coming to my mind. So we talked about it, and we talked about his dream and stuff, and then later on that night, I go and reread Revelation 12 because it just kept sticking out to me, and I was just thinking about it off and on all day. So I did. I went back and read that, and anyway, so later on that night, so I had already read that, and later on that night, he comes in to, say goodnight, and I had a couple questions about the dream. So I asked him, I was a little curious about, the attic versus the rooftop and stuff, and he said he didn't really understand that, when he went up there, it was the rooftop, and then, when he went up there to, see what was taking her so long, he walked into an attic. So he did say one thing that stood out to him. I don't know if it's really of significance, but he said that there was a window in the front of the room, anyway, there's a window, and it was a big window, he said, and it was dark outside. It was like black outside, so you couldn't see through the window is what he said. So that's that dream. But like I said, later on that night, he comes in to say goodnight, and I asked him about that part, and then I asked him about the hand motion he was doing, like this. I said, so could you see the scales on the serpent or something? And he was like, well, it was more like this. And I said, oh, like fish scales, and he said, yeah, but it wasn't actually on it. It was kind of, raised up, and I said, like coming off of it, kind of like a hand, and then, it's not really on it, per se, like a pattern, but it's coming up. And he said, yeah. And I said, like a dragon? And he said, yeah, I guess so. And he said, when I said that to him, that he got chills, and so he also said that he didn't tell me this when he was telling me the dream Sunday morning, but when we're having this conversation, he said, he said there was also some kind of ship in the sky, or maybe, he's like, I didn't see a ship, but I seen like what looked like cells to a boat, or he's like, or it could have been wings or something, like angel wings. Well, I'm thinking that, at this point I'm like, maybe like dragon wings. So anyways, I read Revelation 12 to him, that part, and if you guys aren't familiar with, I feel the need to read it to you guys, so I'm going to real quick, because I don't want to say something wrong, or misinterpret or anything. Okay, Revelation 12, verse 9. And that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan. So just that verse right there, the fact that he said serpent in his dream, but the way he was describing it as a dragon. So, and then the 458, that was another thing that stood out to him in the dream. But, I wanted to share that with you guys. And like I said, I'm going to do a couple more videos. I just don't want them to be too long. So, all right, guys, pray over this. If you have anything to add to it, please do in the comments. Yeah, so like I said, I'll be back on here with a couple more tonight. All right, God bless.